College is pretty competitive. We're all trying to get good marks. We're trying to prepare so we can get into graduate schools and to become the professionals that we have in mind for ourselves. And I can remember back when I was at University of California in Berkeley, majoring in physiology because that's a pre-med major, and staying up all night one time studying for my exams. Of course, we took no-dos, we drank coffee, we had a whole bunch of people there that were trying to bone up so that when the exam came tomorrow, we could kill it. And I know I went into the final with an A, and I was so tired the next day that I couldn't concentrate well. And what happened is I got a D in the final and a C in the course, which was, of course, a disaster for somebody who's majoring in that, and that's one of the major courses that I was taking. And I got a cold as a bonus from it, because what happens is when you don't get enough sleep, your natural killer cells are suppressed, and those are the cells that are important to prevent colds. So the question comes up, and was published in the UCLA study in a journal called Child Development, about whether or not we should stay up and study to cram to get good grades, or is it really counterproductive? And they found the same thing I did, and that's that people didn't do as well in their tests, they didn't learn the material as well, and that it generally wasn't a good idea. Now, hard study, is that a good idea? Of course it is, but the expense of sleep turns out not to be the case. And that also points out another thing too. And I said, what are we doing with our courses that we're taking really at every level of school? Do we remember the things we learned in college in most of the courses that we had? Of course not. You couldn't begin to. There's too much detail, and what we need is an overview. It's also too competitive. And when it's competitive like that, what happens? Then we wind up in a competitive adversarial world. We're learning how to compete, and we're not really thinking about our lives in terms of what's our meaning, why are we here, how are we going to develop community, how are we going to get along with each other so that we have a life that's more fulfilling. How important are grades when you compare it to having a healthy lifestyle and enjoying life? Where's the balance? And we focus on that too much, although I see some changes happening in some schools as I go through and look at some of their curriculums. So when we're looking at what we're trying to accomplish in school, that's the first thing. It should be less competitive. It should be more supportive. It should be more in terms of teaching us things about what we're going to need to know later in life. It's not the details that matter. It's the way we go about learning and what we take home from that. So this was a wonderful study done at UCLA, and actually I did this for about 2 weeks on 535 high school students, and they tracked study time, sleep time, and test results. So if you want to do well in school, you want to learn more about how to live a happy life that is balanced between work and play, think twice about staying up too late at night and cramming for that test the next day.